I'm Jen, this is Remembered Reads, and this is going to be the rainy day book tag. I was tagged by Jess from Garden Scriptorium, and I will link her channel below. Question number 1 is rain. Pick a book that makes you cry every time you read it. I am not a huge crier for books, but I think my choice would be a book that I read as a kid, Where the Red Fern Grows, because you know how dog stories are, and that is one I've read a few times. I think I actually still own it, but it's in storage. I don't have it with me, so I can't hold it up. But yeah, that would be my pick. Question number 2, puddle. Pick a book where the world is underwater or that is mostly surrounded by water. Treasure Island. They're on the sea. Water. Question number 3, rain boots. Pick a book with a character who has a damned soul. Pun. S-O-L-E. But it means soul, like the fish, but they mean soul, like the soul. For that one, I'm going to pick someone from a book that could have fit the last question as well, since it's also on the sea. And that's Kenneth from the Live Ship Traders books, who starts out as sort of a morally ambiguous character and just becomes, I don't know, he's been broken by life, so he's not a good person, and he does some horrible things, but it makes sense given the things that have happened to him. So, question number 4, umbrella. Pick a book that was big and comforting. Now this is going to be a weird choice, because it's not really comforting, but I'm going to say The Quiet Violence of Dreams, which is heavy. This is not comforting and fluffy, but it is a big book, and it is one that I feel like I can read at almost at any point in life, and you can go back to it, and there's more going on. Because I think about 15 years ago I got this out of the library, and I had one reaction to it, and I decided I was going to buy it because I enjoyed it so much, and it worked for me at different levels then. And then I read this again this summer because I had to rebuy it because I lent it to a friend and she basically stole it, and and I had even a different reaction. So not comforting in the way that maybe a cozy mystery or something would be, because I mean, as I said, there's a lot of heavy stuff that happens in this book. But yeah, definitely something that can be reread a lot and be valuable on rereading, and big. Question number 5, rainy day movie. Pick a book that was turned into a movie that you love to watch on rainy days. And so for that one, I have 2 choices that I couldn't decide between, so I'm just going to go with both. And one of them is The English Patient, and the other one is The Last Unicorn, which are both about regret. Or maybe not, but I don't know. Which I think is funny, because The Last Unicorn movie is so close to it. Some of the lines are exactly the same, except for the subplot about Schmendrick's age in the book. It's almost exactly the same. Whereas this movie is, I felt at least, very different from the book, but still has the same tone. Like, the book is much more about Hannah and Kip and Caravaggio, whereas the movie is so much more about the European characters in the flashback sequences, and I really enjoyed this on both levels. And I mean, I loved this movie. It was, I think, the only movie I've seen like at the cinema multiple times as an adult was The English Patient. I saw it 4 times. But I love both of these as books and movies. Question number 6, coffee. Pick a book that you couldn't get enough of the hot and steamy romance. I hate romance. I'm like the least romantic person, so I don't even have an answer to that, sorry. I mean, I've read some books that have romance plots, but that tends to not be why I enjoy them, so. Poncho. Pick a book with a main character who has an amazing best friend. For that, I'm going to go with All Quiet on the Western Front. I think a whole lot of war stories could fit that, because the kind of, brotherhood in battle theme is kind of a thing in a lot of war stories, so it could almost be any of them. I feel like that's another cop-out answer, but. Number 8, gutters. Pick a book where the world is dirty and grimy in the way you would imagine it. I'm gonna pick another war story. Timothy Finley's The Wars, which is another First World War book. There's a recurring theme around mud. Everything's described as mud, both in the sense that the kind of typical World War I scenes, which is where the trenches are so muddy that people are drowning, in mud. But it also uses mud imagery to describe almost everything. There's one point where the main character is in Belgium and he's going north. And this place names shift from French to Flemish. It's muddier, he said. But I mean, everything is mud. Language is mud. You know, war is mud. There's a brothel scene in it that's described in a way that sounds like it could be in a barn. It's not in a barn, but that's the way it's described. So, yeah, dirty, mud. Question number 9 is cuddly pet. Pick a book that had enjoyable animals in it. And I'm going to go with, now I've picked this author for 2 books, but which I feel like is cheating. This is The Hidden Star by K. Selo-Duiker again. And there are a bunch of talking dogs in this who, you know, sometimes they're having conversations and they smell a barbecue and their ears prick up and they go run off because, hey, somebody's having a barbecue. So, yeah, that's the most memorable. Look, there's the dog in the cover. Dog characters. And number 10, Sweet Treat. Pick a book that had the sweetest ending. And for this, I'm going to pick one of the books from the Girls of Many Lands series. And that's Layla the Black Tulip. This doll is from that book. And it is about a girl in the 1720s who, her family is going through a financial crisis, so she sells herself to a slave trader. And she's in what is now Georgia, the country, not the US state. And she ends up as a gardener in the royal harem in Istanbul. And, you know, she has a lot of interesting adventures. I mean, that makes it sound very grim, but it's not. It's you know, she's however old she is, 14, I think. She grows into herself and she becomes this, and this is when, you know, the tulip craze was happening. And so as a gardener, she's suddenly, you know, allowed to grow into her own, and the ending is very sweet. Like, she has her life there, but she can also help her family, and it's a nice story. And that, I think, is the final question. It is. Alright, so the next part is to tag people, and I'm going to do what I usually do for tags, and I am going to tag the last 5 people who commented and who I didn't tag the last tag video. So I will link all of those down below, and that's it for now. Ciao!